Peter Ostrum is a former child star known for playing Charlie Bucket in 1971's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Unlike most child stars, Peter willingly chose to exit the industry after his most iconic role and do something else with his life. Today, he's a veterinarian who works in New York, although he often reminisces about the role that made him famous.
Thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. More about them later.
Join Facts First as we explore why Willy Wonka star Peter Ostrum stopped acting after his only role. When Peter Ostrum was cast to play the role of Charlie Bucket in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the experience was not all that dissimilar to the story of Charlie Bucket receiving the iconic golden ticket in the movie itself. In the story of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is based upon the Roald Dahl book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the character of Charlie ends up receiving a golden ticket against all odds. It allows him to meet and eventually inherit the Chocolate Factory of Willy Wonka. In real life, Peter Ostrum was swept away from his normal childhood and given the opportunity to grace cinema screens alongside Hollywood legend Gene Wilder, just as seemingly out of the blue. He was born in Dallas, Texas in 1957. The young boy got into performing as an extracurricular activity and was spotted by talent agents while performing at a children's theater in the 6th grade. These agents believed Peter would be perfect for the role of Charlie Bucket, and they subsequently auditioned him. Peter got the part, and the rest is history. Some may wonder if it was a bad experience during the filming of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that caused Peter to quit the entertainment industry after production was over. However, the actor seems to have had a good time making the movie. Peter Ostrum enjoyed playing Charlie Bucket. There are numerous things about filming that Ostrum has good memories of. For one thing, he was glad to get the opportunity to work with Hollywood legends like Gene Wilder and Jack Albertson. The movie also was filmed in Germany, and Peter claims it was an exciting experience for him as a child to be traveling around the world. If Ostrum enjoyed the filming so much, audiences may wonder why he decided to leave acting behind. It seems that after filming wrapped, Peter became interested in a new passion that overtook acting. Ostrum claims he was offered a 3-picture contract after his successful performance in Willy Wonka, though he turned down the opportunity. This was because there was something else going on in his life that had overtaken his interest in acting. When he came home from filming, he found his parents had bought a horse. The child star then became obsessed with this horse and would spend all his time with it. Ostrum claims that it was while spending time with his family's new horse that he became interested in becoming a veterinarian. Peter would stay by the horse's side when the veterinarian would visit, and the young boy became interested in what the medical professional was doing. Pretty soon, Peter was dreaming about becoming a veterinarian himself. Because of this, he turned his sights away from the screen. Today, Peter is still a practicing veterinarian, though he helps cows instead of horses.
With inflation and the increasing cost of living, it's difficult to stay on budget to save for retirement. Having some extra guidance with budgets can help, and that's where Rocket Money comes in. Rocket Money is an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. The Personal Finance Manager allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, monitor your credit score, and build your savings all in one place. Rocket Money can see if you have recurring charges for subscriptions you forgot about. From there, they cancel unwanted subscriptions for you with just a tap. You never have to get on the phone or try to hunt down the cancel button. Inside the platform, you can set budgets and monitor your spending for those categories. If you go over budget, you'll get friendly notifications that help you stay on track. You can also monitor your credit score. With complete access to your credit reports and history, Rocket Money alerts you of important changes that impact your score and offers you insights on ways to improve it. Rocket Money is trusted by 3.4 million members and counting. To try it out for free today and unlock more features with premium, head to rocketmoney.com/factsfirst or click the link in the video description.
Peter left Hollywood to become a veterinarian. Nowadays, Peter Ostrum runs a veterinary practice out of New York and does most of his work in the dairy industry. When he isn't working, he makes the occasional public appearance related to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and his role in the iconic film. He also does some public speaking at schools in his area, where he mostly talks about how he decided to become a veterinarian. The movie is now over 50 years old, and the property is about to be revived in the form of a prequel, starring Dune's Timothée Chalamet and directed by Paddington's Paul King. According to Peter, who recently made a public appearance via live streaming to celebrate the original film's anniversary, he's excited about the future of the franchise. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Peter initially regretted being a child star. For the initial years of Peter's adult life, he was hesitant to talk about his iconic role in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The film was not all that big of a success during its initial release. It didn't attain its classic status until years later when it was released on television. Many have theorized that this lack of a major reception was the reason Peter called it quits on acting. However, the decision was all his, and he remains proud of his choice to become a veterinarian. Though Peter Ostrum still has no qualms about leaving future stardom behind to start up his veterinary practice, the former child star has since lightened up on his stance regarding not reminiscing about his iconic role. Though the film adaptation deviated from the source material by making Willy Wonka the titular character instead of Charlie, the boy was still very much the main character of the film. The role required a lot of the child actor, and he gave it his all. In 2005, Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was adapted to cinema screens yet again. This was the first time that Peter was forced to watch someone else portray the screen role he had originated. In 2005's version, the titular role of Charlie Bucket was played by child performer Freddie Highmore, who has many more credits to his name than just Charlie. Freddie has found continued success in the industry as an adult, having a successful TV series called The Good Doctor. Willy Wonka is being revived for a second time. 2005's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory saw Johnny Depp take over the role of Willy Wonka from Gene Wilder. Now it appears a third actor is preparing for that task. That was the aforementioned Timothée Chalamet, who is set to portray Willy Wonka in an upcoming prequel called Wonka. After all these years, Peter is glad that the property keeps coming back to cinemas. Though Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory will likely continue to be rebooted in one form or another until the end of time, there will always be a special place in culture for the original film. People still return to the magic of the original more than the 2005 adaptation, and this will likely stay the same in the wake of any upcoming reboot. Part of what made the original so special was its practical effects. Many have wondered, since the original's 1971 release, whether all of the candy that made up Willy Wonka's factory was as real as it appeared to be. Sadly, Peter Ostrum claims the vast majority of the supposedly edible candy was just part of the set. According to Peter, the only candy that was real on the set was the candy meant for eating, which was still quite a bit of candy. One piece of candy that wasn't real was the everlasting gobstopper that Charlie can be seen handing back to Willy Wonka at the end of the film. In addition to being the end of the film proper, this was also the last scene that Peter filmed with Gene Wilder. Peter retains fond memories about his final day of filming, which also ended up being his last day working in Hollywood altogether. Gene Wilder sadly passed away in 2016. Despite Johnny Depp taking on the role, Gene's take undeniably remains the character's most iconic screen representation. Now it's time to hear from you. Are you looking forward to the prequel of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.